Hey, I wanted to share something that I use in some of my other coursework that I thought would be applicable here. I call it my time money matrix, and I'll just dive right into it. So this is the time money matrix. You've seen matrices like this before. I'm just using this specifically as it relates to digital marketing. What we have here are 4 quadrants. I really was inspired by Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants in the 7 Habits. He talks about urgent and important is his matrix. So I've got a time money matrix. This first column is if you don't have any time. You've got 0 time. The second column is you've got some time. The first row is you don't have any money, and the second row is you've got some money. So as the overlap happens, it identifies whether or not you have time and money. And so quadrant 1 is no time, no money. Quadrant 2 is I have some time, but I don't have any money. Quadrant 3 is I don't have any time, but I do have some money. And Quadrant 4 is I've got time and I've got money. People tend not to admit that they live in Quadrant 4, even if they do, and most people don't live here. So let's dive into some of the advertising channels that are available and accessible to you based off of the quadrant that you live in. And that's the point of this exercise, by the way, is to figure out how do I advertise. So Quadrant 4 is first. I have all the time in the world, and I have all the money in the world. Now you can do whatever you want. So evergreen paid ads. This is like what PepsiCo does if they're just batch and blasting the whole world because they want you to see their brand over and over and over again. Paid thought leadership. And thought leadership, incidentally, takes time. It takes time. So, generally speaking, you need to have some time in order to invest in thought leadership. And if you're willing to pay, you can get, co-sponsor with influencers, get on major stages. There's a lot you can do. Search engine optimization, of course. It's so funny because I put SEO in the lots of time, lots of money category. And a lot of people think SEO is free, which I think is funny because you have to create immense amounts of content and do a massive amount of link building if it's, a competitive space. And those things are costly. So I happen to think SEO costs money. It didn't used to. There were, in competitive areas, there were times where you could rank just by virtue of the quality of your content. That can still be true for certain industries, but for the most part, I think you have to invest pretty heavily in SEO. That's my opinion. Some SEOs might want to go throw something at me. That's okay. I have a lot of friends in the SEO space who may disagree with me, so please feel free to correct me if that's you. PR campaigns, that's a lot of money for sure. The time that you invest in this is going to be dependent upon how involved you are in the PR campaign. If you go hire somebody to run it for you, then maybe this is 0 time. But for the most part, even if, with good PR, it tends to put you in front of the camera, but now you actually have to invest the time in order to capitalize on that. And then affiliate marketing. It's funny, a lot of marketers look at affiliate marketing like it's free. Nothing could be further from the truth. First of all, you have to go find the affiliates, and that's a whole marketing campaign in and of itself. And it's actually, you're separating yourself. You're one standard deviation removed from the purchase decision because now you're running a marketing campaign to get people to sell your product instead of running a marketing campaign to sell your product. So, and you have to have a ton of time. Managing affiliates is a freaking nightmare. I've done it. I've done it for a major SaaS platform, among others, and they're the worst people in the world. And I'm saying that as an affiliate to a lot of things. They're just, they're too smart to be corralled, but not smart enough to really understand what's going on. It's a tough space. So unless you really know what you're doing, and really by that I mean you're hiring somebody who's dedicated to helping manage your affiliate channel, I'd be careful with this one. Quadrant 3, I'm going backwards, as you can tell. Now, paid ads, Google ads. This is where we live. This is where we live. You have some money. You don't have time. You don't have time. Now, regardless of what some of the thought leaders tell you, you can't run paid ads without money. That's why the word paid is in the title. So that whole $1 a day traffic campaign, that can work in some instances for like mild list building, remarketing, but for the most part, you need to spend. And that's Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Reddit, whatever. Wherever it is that you're running your ads, you have to be able to invest. So, you have money, but you don't have much time. You can run paid ads. If you don't have the time, you have to pay somebody to run your paid ads, obviously. But you can do that. Influencers actually are great. And I've seen some clients get in front of some major influencers for not a lot of money. There's some amount of expenditure, which is why it's in this quadrant, but I've been surprised often at how inexpensive certain influencers are, and then equally surprised at how expensive certain influencers are. Some people feel very strongly about themselves. Paid partnerships, going out there to various content networks saying, hey, you've got my exact audience. How do I get in front of them? We've done that a couple of times with varying degrees of success. We've done it in the Montessori space. We did it with stonemasons. We did it with chiropractors. We've done it with optometrists. And, sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. And then sponsored content, and this isn't just like Outbrain, Taboola. This is also if you want to get like granular. You can go directly to networks, and I mean, really, if you think about it, this is what you do with like SEO.co. But you can pay to have your content placed right in front of your prospect. So that's a good use of potential investment dollars. Paid ads is where I live. This is my jam. Here's what's interesting about it is I don't think that paid ads is the best end all be all advertising mechanism for you. I don't even think it's the first one that you should run. I don't think it'll be the most important one. I don't think it's something you should be dedicated to long term. I have other lead acquisition strategies. It's why we have a YouTube channel. Now, I actually didn't know that leads were going to be coming from our YouTube channel, to be honest with you. But now that they are, I'm like, gosh, let's go all in on this. And we invest in SEO, and we invest in strategic partnerships and referral partnerships. And we're social and on LinkedIn. And I've got a gentleman, John Godelli. He's dedicated to nothing but outbound sales. So I have other lead acquisition strategies, and I'm a Google Ads agency. You should too. You absolutely should too. Don't get overcommitted to one strategy, because if it goes away, or even if you just have like a lull, if I have a 3-month lull in Google Ads, which has happened before, you get some idiot that enters the business and decides, they're VC backed and they want to just carpet bomb the space and steal all the leads. Well, at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go let this person burn themselves out, and we'll go to some of our other acquisition strategies. So don't be myopic in scope when it comes to your customer acquisition. Quadrant 2, thought leadership, organic. So this is where I've got a lot of time and a lot of money. This is when you're like hitting Quora, responding to YouTube comments. YouTube channel is actually a really good example of this. This is where you're really producing an immense amount of content and putting yourself in front of people based solely on the virtue of what it is that you have to say. Content marketing, kind of the same story. These two are really bundled. Email marketing. And I realize that you need a list in order for this to be the case. I'm going to presuppose that you have a list or have access to a list, but email marketing takes a lot of time to do it well. But it's also the highest performing marketing channel with the lowest cost. So it's absolutely worth doing if you have the list, of course. Organic social. So if you want to play, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, what's the new one? I forget. It's the audio-based one. Clubhouse. There's a ton of people doing really well playing organic. I don't know how to play that game. I'm bad at it. Although, interestingly, you could think that this, my YouTube channel is kind of organic social in a way. I don't really view it that way, but it's at least at arm's length. And then strategic partnerships, of course, going out, finding joint ventures. This is the organic version of the paid partnerships. This is generally, with paid partnerships, you're looking for people that are one tier higher than you and asking them, what do I have to do to pay to play? With strategic partnerships, usually your peers. And it's like, hey, you do SEO, I do PPC, let's refer each other work, that type of thing. That's really worth doing. I have some amazing strategic partnerships. And just a pro tip that happened by accident, it came from me hiring vendors. I went and hired the best SEO in the world. Now he sends me work. We just hired one of the best email marketing companies in the world. He's already talking to me about us referring work back and forth. So if you're good at what you do, people will take notice. And then build a following. This YouTube channel, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, podcasts, whatever. Investing in a community, I think, is one of the most important things you can do for your business long term. It's hard. It's pain. It takes a lot of time. But, I haven't spent practically anything on this damn YouTube channel. We have 2,000 subscribers. That's amazing. People are reaching out to me on LinkedIn saying, thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm getting, direct email queries, Facebook messages sometimes. Just our comments on YouTube. Like, we've got a community here, and it's so valuable. And then, of course, the last one. If you have no time and no money, if you have zero time and you have zero money, don't be stupid. How could that thought enter your brain? And it's weird because I'm on the phone with some of these people sometimes. Like, somehow somebody gets through my filter and I end up on the phone with a prospect and you're like, oh gosh, I don't have the time to run this myself at all. I'm so glad I found you. And I'm like, great, I'm glad you found me too. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have any budget. Like, I can spend $100 a month on ad spend maybe. And, at that point I'm like, well, you definitely can afford my fee. And in my mind, I'm like, what world do you live in where there's this weird, law of manifestation thing? Like, you just sat around watching The Secret for too many times. Like, you can't get something for nothing. You have to invest time and you have to invest money. And, you might think like I'm being cruel right now, and maybe I am just a little bit, but it's because I've seen entrepreneurs, business owners, marketers, like, set off on this endeavor of like, oh, I'm going to go get traffic, or I'm going to, advertise, or I'm going to market. I don't have any time to service this thing, and I also, I don't have the money to support it. So Quadrant 1 does not exist. It is non-existent. If you find this, don't tell anybody, because that's the freaking golden goose, and never let it go. And I've got a little worksheet that I'm going to give you. This is my gift to you. It's absolutely free. I'll link to it in the description of this video. I call it the time money matrix. So what you're going to do is you're going to find where these people are, and then where they live, where this potential acquisition strategy lives on your matrix. So I've got the matrix outlined here for you. So if you have lots of time and lots of money, you know, if you don't have any time but you got some money, etc. And what I'd recommend you doing is go answer these questions. Answer all these, and I've only got 34, but what, and that's not nearly comprehensive enough. It's just, you know, kind of what I rattled out while I was building this exercise. Hopefully what this does is this arms you to begin answering more and more questions. And what you can do is, you know, like, what blogs do they frequent, for instance? I've got a couple columns here, definite. Like, I know for a fact that my audience goes to X. And then you can say, like, for me, it might be WordStream, for instance. And then possible. Like, you know what, I don't know for a fact, but I think that people are probably going to Warrior Forum because, you know, and then, you know, I talk about Warrior Forum. And then future is, they're not here yet, but I have a feeling my people are going to start subscribing to Trends, for instance. And then any notes that you have for yourself. And then what you can do is you can go, well, where does this live on my matrix? And, you know, with WordStream, that's a tough one. That maybe is a paid partnership, assuming I could even get in front of them. You know, but like with Warrior Forum, for instance, I might be able to pay to get into that. If I find out that they're like on a certain Reddit channel or whatever, you know, what online forums are they on? Like, that becomes a paid placement and potentially an organic placement. So that might live here and it might live here, where I can pay to advertise to that specific thread, but then I can also, you know, invest in, you know, commenting, building a relationship with these people. So if you go through, if you're not sure what to do, answer these questions. Answer these questions. Figure out where these people are, what celebrities they like, what influencers they follow, where do they get their news, and then you're going to see, like, okay, well, if I had to go insert myself in front of that prospect, how do I do it? And now you know where these strategies live in your time money matrix, which hopefully is really helpful to you. I think this can be a really powerful exercise. Some of these questions aren't going to be applicable at all, but then some of them are, you know, hopefully going to spark catalyze some resources for you that I'm hoping are absolute, complete, total game changers. You know, knowing what books somebody reads, even if you're not necessarily using it for your direct acquisition strategy, just getting into the mind of your prospect the same way that you do when you're building an avatar, and really starting to understand who they are and how to speak to them. Really getting to know them. For instance, I know my entire market has read Think and Grow Rich. Like, everybody in my world has read Think and Grow Rich. All of them. Every one of them. So what that means is I can actually pull, like, parables, you know, some of the nomenclature, the structure. I can draw upon it and use it, and it immediately acts as an anchor. And instead of me trying to explain, you know, complex concepts or whatever, I can bring to the fold what I already know about people. You might say, like, yeah, you know what, all my people are equestrians or musicians or whatever. You know, everybody that service is X. In the Montessori school space, I can tell you, like, the vast majority of them, if you're a Montessori school owner, chances are you eat organic food. If you're a Montessori school parent, chances are you eat organic food. And you think to yourself, like, well, that's like a weird, nuanced niche. Well, I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And obviously it's a stereotype. It's not necessarily always true. But now that I know that, there's little subtleties that I can add, even if it's tangential. You know, my ad copy, I now get to say, like, you know, oh, this is the green version of education or whatever. And that's going to resonate with people because I'm anchoring something that's already important to them that might seem disassociated, and I'm bringing it, connecting it to my product or my service or my whatever. So please spend some time, do this exercise. I hope you get a lot out of it. And I hope, again, that I wasn't being too cruel, but you got to spend some time or some money. You have to. If you don't, you can't be in business. And you know, that's kind of just a come to Jesus moment we all need to have. So I hope this is helpful. I'm so grateful to all y'all for watching, subscribing, you know, all the comments that we're getting, all the engagement, the shares. It really means a lot. And I'm shooting a video every day. So if you haven't subscribed, but you're thinking about it, you know, I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you on a daily basis. I'd love to be able to continue to provide value to you on a daily basis. Other than that, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.